Hi, my name is Chelsea and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my very first video, which feels pretty intimidating, I'm not gonna lie. Definitely long form content just feels a little bit more intense than what I'm used to. If you know me, I'm on Instagram and TikTok and I talk about all things personal finance. So tapping into long form content is definitely a little bit scary, but that's okay. We're here, we're gonna get through this together. But I figured a good way to kind of introduce myself is to actually do a little bit of a Q&A. So I asked you guys over on Instagram to just literally ask me anything for my YouTube. So that's what we're gonna do today. So you can kind of get to know me if you don't know who I am or if you just wanna know a little bit more about me. So first, we'll just start off with like a nice generic question, and that is, who are you and what do you do? So I am a full-time personal finance content creator and I'm based here in Vancouver, Canada. I actually was able to quit my job back in February of 2024. So we're coming up on 2 years now, which feels absolutely insane. But yeah, this world has completely changed my life and I've documented the process over on Instagram and TikTok, and now again I'm heading over to YouTube, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, that's a little TLDR version of who I am. So the first question is, how did you start with content creation? So I first started posting on TikTok in May of 2022, and then a year and a little bit after, like I think it was July 2023, I started posting on Instagram as well. But the reason why I started posting content was because I worked basically 3 jobs. I had my 9-to-5 marketing job. I think I was making like $50,000 at the time. I was serving twice a week. I also had a small candle business, and I was just showcasing my journey of making extra income, and that was the way to get ahead, especially in an expensive city like Vancouver. So that's the reason why I started. Personal finance is also something I'm very passionate about. It's something I'm continuously learning, and I just wanted to share that too, and making money simple, talking about investing, talking about budgeting and how I manage my money. So that's kind of how that all started. Another person asks, where did I grow up? So it's actually funny because sometimes I will get questions of people being like, where's your accent from? Or where are you from? Are you from Vancouver? Are you from Canada? Originally, no. I am from Stockholm, Sweden. So I moved here with my family when I was 13 years old. I'm 31 now, so it's been a while, but it's funny because sometimes people will pick up something. I don't hear it, but some other people do. But yeah, born in Sweden, and then I moved to Canada when I was 13. Someone else asks, what's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you? I think something that people would be surprised is that I did not grow up with financial literacy skills, just like a lot of other people. You know, I do budgeting calls and I talk about this a lot, and a lot of people just weren't taught. And I'm completely self-taught when it comes to personal finance, when it comes to investing, and when it comes to just learning about all these things. I did that myself. The reason why I started was because when I met my now husband, I was going to say fiance, but my husband, he's the one who kind of helped jumpstart the idea of that I don't have to live the way I was and that I could change things. And he kind of started introducing me to the topic of personal finance. And then, yeah, the rest is kind of history after that. But yeah, I didn't grow up with financial literacy skills just like many other people. What was the moment you realized you could go full-time as a content creator? So the first time where I realized that I could go full-time was when my income from my social media actually was higher than my salary from my job. That was a pretty big deal, and I was like, wow, I can actually make more money than my corporate job. And I think at that point I'd already made the switch and I was making $73,000 a year. But that was pretty eye-opening, just seeing how much money you can make in the online space. So yeah, that was the first time where I really realized, I'm like, wow, I could do this, which was terrifying. But yeah, there was definitely some things leading up to it, to me actually quitting my job. But yeah, replacing my salary was a really big one. Someone asks me, how did you and Andrew meet? So it's a typical modern love story. This guy, we met on Hinge. I had never used Hinge before. He was my very first person that I matched with, and we literally talked, I don't know, for a few days, like back and forth, and we met and we literally saw each other for like a week straight, and we were just, yeah, we were fully infatuated from the very beginning. But yeah, that's how we met. Very cute. Someone asks, what's your current favorite show or podcast? Favorite show, I mean, my guilty pleasure, guys, is trash TV. I love watching trash TV, especially Real Housewives. That's definitely my cup of tea. But when it comes to podcasts, I kind of, it ebbs and flows. Right now, I'm listening to a lot of Diary of a CEO, Obsessed. Also, Jay Shetty is another go-to. Also, Grace Beverly. Why am I forgetting her podcast name? Working Hard, Hardly Working. I think that's what her podcast is called. Fantastic as well. Really great conversations, but those are kind of the three that I've been rotating between. Someone asks me, what's a small luxury that makes you feel rich? And I will say this has definitely changed throughout the years, but I think now when I'm thinking about the things that make me feel rich, it's the flexibility and having autonomy over my own life. We can take a break when we want to, or specifically me. Andrew's a little bit more cooped up with different type of work, but just being able to have a slow morning or take a day off, basically doing what I want, that's what makes me feel rich. And I feel like that's now what I'm really striving for. What's one thing you want people to take away from following you? I love this question. What I will say is, like, I think about myself like when I was in my early to mid 20s and I was just terrible with my money, not in a good spot, just thinking that I would end up in a certain type of life, and I just thought I was kind of stuck. And what I want people to know is that you can change the direction of your life and you have control of your life. Stop thinking about the things that you can't control and just focus on the things that you can. And if your willpower is big enough and strong enough, you can really make anything happen. I think a lot of it also has to do with how much are you willing to sacrifice in order to make something happen, especially when it comes to debt payoff or you want to become an entrepreneur. There's usually a lot of sacrifices that you have to make in order for that to happen. But I think the biggest thing is like you can do it with anything in life, and I feel like that's something that I definitely want people to take away from my content. Someone asks, what inspired you to start your YouTube channel? So this is something I've thought about for a long time that I've been wanting to do. I'm still slightly scared of doing it, but like I just know I want to. So here we are. If you guys don't know, I had started a podcast and it's, longer form, but it was just something that I don't know, for some reason it just didn't feel like, I don't know if it's the right time in my life where I'm doing it. Still love the podcast format, but I just wasn't that excited about it. And at the end of the day, I still wanted to do something long form. So that's where YouTube comes. And I just want to be a little bit more carefree with my content. And I feel like YouTube will allow me to do that. I can be a bit more creative. I can have more fun. When it comes to Instagram and TikTok, it is very heavy in terms of the type of content that I want to produce and create, because it performs well. It leads to new people following me that perhaps will, get my budget template or have a one-on-one call with me. It's really hard to have a balance between wanting to be really creative, but then also at the end of the day, it's a business. So the way that I'm kind of looking at this YouTube is just like a really fun creative project for me. So you'll likely see a lot of different things that I'll probably try out. But yeah, that's kind of what inspired me to start this. The final question that I'm going to answer is, what kind of videos can people expect on my YouTube channel? That's a great question. Frederick, of course, will be included. What I'll say when it comes to my YouTube, I'm definitely gonna test out a bunch of different stuff on here. I'm thinking vlogs, I'm thinking some sit downs like this where we can talk about, particular subjects, obviously personal finance, but maybe just topics that I'm thinking about too. A little bit more lifestyle things, and also entrepreneurship and content creation, things that I'm very passionate about that we can talk about. That's what I want to have on here. It's not just going to be personal finance. There will be a big mixture of things. I love watching vlogs. I'll also say even just my regular routines when it comes to, at the end of the month, what does that look like? How do I reset? Not just on the finance side of things, but, other things as well. So look forward to Look forward to a big mixture of content on here, Hopefully you just get to know me better as a person and what I'm doing and the changes that are happening in my life. And yeah, I just want to take you guys along, and I hope that this will be a nice, fun space for us to have even bigger conversations. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. So those are all of the questions that I'm going to answer for today's video. I hoped that this was insightful and just like what, you know, you'll get from me on this account. Maybe you'll learn something new about me. But yeah, I hope you guys follow along. If not, that's cool too. But yeah, I'm excited for this kind of next chapter and just having a little bit more creative freedom. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, you'll see lots of Frederick for sure. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I will try my very best to stick to a once a week schedule. That's the goal, but I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself, especially in the beginning. But yeah, we'll see you in the next one.